Hello, I hope this isn't too jarring compared to my last video. I wanted to put a little more of my personality in the speed paint since reading text on a screen can get pretty boring. But also, I feel like my future videos can be something you can put on the background for comfort or noise, and you don't necessarily have to watch the video to know what's happening. This illustration is inspired by 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 on Instagram/Twitter. I can't find the specific TikTok, but there's this TikTok or Twitter trend. I don't actually know where it's originated from, but the art looks like it's popping out of the canvas of your art program, and I thought it was super cool. So I wanted to try that. I usually struggle with what to do for the background since the main focus is the character, so when I saw this trend, I thought it was so neat. I really struggled to draw the pose correctly and get the face angle right. I still don't really like how the face angle looks, but oh well. God, I love how his hair turned out. I really like the movement and shape of it. I think it really catches your eye. It's it's funny because I kept staring at the reference photos of Nuvi's clothes for quite a while, but the speed paint cuts out any dead space. I ended up drawing him in a modern 𝑑𝑟𝑎𝑔𝑉𝗋, though it doesn't really make any sense because he's a Frenchman wearing a modern rendition of women's traditional Filipino clothing. Fun fact, this entire illustration was made using 𝘀ecie𝗰𝗶𝗹, their amogus brush set, but I tweaked the brush just a little bit. Now that the sketch is finished, I'm moving on to making the flat color layers for each piece. How I like to make the flat layers is by outlining each piece using a textured brush, then using the lasso tool to fill everything in, and whatever the lasso tool doesn't get, I just use the textured brush to fill it in by hand. Everything gets its own layer, so the skin is its own layer, each article of clothing is its own layer. It depends on for the clothing. For this piece specifically, there's two parts, the opaque vest, I guess, and the sheer part. Hair gets its own layer, eyebrows gets its own layer, the eyes get its own layer, and so does the eyelashes. I'm so eepy. The arrow is a reminder of where the light source is coming from, so when I render things out, I can keep in mind where the shadow should go and where the highlights should go as well. For some reason, I had a lot of trouble when I was rendering the skin out. I don't know, something about it, it just wasn't really looking right. But eventually I get it. I was having a lot of trouble, particularly at the nose and the mouth area. I had a lot of trouble in the mouth area. I kept on moving it around because it just wasn't looking right. And honestly, I think I could have done better with this sketch, which would have prevented me from struggling so much with the mouth render, but it's fine, I guess. What's done is done. This piece took around 7 hours. Most of that was probably just sketching and struggling with learning how to render in a different way, but I think it turned out good. Oh, here I'm starting to do the background. At first I was just going to keep the background like a neutral cream color, but I decided that water looked way cooler, and I could also incorporate, you know, how neuvillette is popping out of the canvas. I thought the canvas could also do that too. At first I went for a purple blush for him, but later on when I figured out the lighting and stuff, I felt like it was a little too purple, so I kept messing around with the blush color. And for his lips, I really wanted him to have some sort of like purple-ish lips, but nothing too jarring. I think it turned out well. I think it looks cohesive enough. Especially with the lighting that kicks in later on, it really ties everything in together. Like, I love how his design and his expression makes him look so, like, cold. Not necessarily mean, but, you know, like, he looks stern. He looks firm. But then, once you get through the Archon quest, he's so... he's so baby girl. He's so sensitive. Oh my god, I love him. I love him so much. Like, I already really liked his design before, but after playing through the Archon quest, I love him so much more. Oh, he's just so... I'm honestly so excited for the next act of the Archon quest. I can't wait for his reveal, and his backstory is just everything. I'm so excited for him. I'm so excited for his banner. I'm gonna spend all my primos on him. If I have to open up the wallet, I will. Don't know if I'm gonna aim for a C1 or not, but we'll find out. Here, I'm starting to shade the hair, and I started to try and do a little bit of hue shifting. The base color for his hair is not actually gray. It's more of like a super grayish, like seafoam green almost. And I tried leaning more into the hue shifting, but I got a little scared. It's okay, it still looks nice. I add more hues later on. Yeah, I really like how his hair turned out. I think his hair looks really good. I especially love his like colored strands. It's his character design is just peak, I swear. If you hear background noise, no you don't. I'm not sure if this is actually true, but I think that shading hair has been like the easiest thing for me. Like, I don't know, I don't think I've ever really seriously struggled trying to like render out hair before. I think my second favorite part of the process is the lighting and like adding extra flair and pizzazz. Because I don't know, lighting just makes everything so much better. Oh, ignore the cat ears and BRB. I was on a Discord call with my friends and I had to be right back. I think if I were to change anything or add anything, I would add bubbles in the background and also in the foreground, but it looks good enough on its own. I really liked the chromatic aberration that I added to the piece. I think it adds a little something something. I'm 𝑬𝑝y. This is the end of the video. Bye bye!